focusing in this lesson of understanding the vowel team UE. It can be really confusing. And then we're also focusing on the OE. Now UE falls at the end of words and it says U, like the long U sound. U. It's the name of the letter. Now this sound, depending on what comes in front of it, Lu, will make it sound either like you, EU, or oo, and your mouth will naturally do it. So sometimes you can't even say, like this says, if I put an L in front of this, it says Lu. B in front of this, it says boo. Well, that's the same thing, boo. But if I did that, it would say VU. See how just whatever sound, whatever letter is in front of here, it's going to say EU or oo or U. Let's go over some of these words. Right here, these words are some of the main English words that we have that end in that sound. You, oo, or you. This says do, d, you. Sue, s, you, sue. S, oo, sue. K, you, Q. Now this word right here can be so confusing because you hear k, you, Q, k, you. But so many people that don't understand English want to spell Q, Q, U. Because in the English language, this is a Q. And that's what so many people want to spell. Now, Q's cannot be spelled without this U. So when you have a Q, you have a U. And this right here is not considered a vowel when it's by its Q. Very confusing. So if you hear Q, if you hear that you need to spell Q, you spell it CU, or at the end, CUE, because U's are not allowed to be at the end of the English language. If you hear qua, then you spell it with a Q, U. You, hue, hue, you, hue. Spew, sp, you, spew. True, t, you, true. This is going to say ooh, true. Blue, b, you, blue. Clue, k, you, clue. And flew, this is not the type that you fly in the air, not that type, different. You, flew. It's this kind of flue is a ductwork for, like, we have the flues in our chimney to take smoke out. That's a flue. Now these ones are multi-syllable words, which are trickier, but they still end. The UE will be at the end of multi-syllable words. This is value, value. Now remember how we talked about closed syllables. This is a closed syllable. It breaks right here. It says vowel. That's the reason why this A is short. This A is the accented syllable. So it's going to say value. Value. Undo. It's going to break right here. Undo. You need to break apart every syllable when you get to multi-syllable words. So if you have two vowels separating each other right there, then most likely you have a multi-syllable word. That means more than one syllable. Undo. Issue. See, this is a closed syllable. So it's going to say its short sound. This is a closed syllable. That's why in those other lessons, you need to understand what a closed syllable does, because it'll teach you how to read larger words. See, closed syllable. This is for the A, so it says a. This is a closed syllable. This is for the U, so it's going to say a. This is a closed syllable. For the I, it's going to say I. This says issue, issue, issue. The S is saying sh here, and sometimes S's change sounds depending on what the vowel is doing. Venue. See, now we have an E here. It's saying it's short sound. It's a closed syllable. So see how closed syllables help you learn long words. Venue. Actually, all the syllables do, but I'm focusing on the closed syllables so you can get the short sound down. Venue. Rescue. Closed syllable. This is saying it's short sound. Rescue. Look, if you hear Q, how are you going to spell it? C-U-E at the end. C-U-E. If you hear it in the middle of a word, then you would spell it C-U. Rescue. Tissue. Tissue. See? Short sound. Tissue. Pursue. Now this right here is a vowel R syllable. And we'll go over vowels and then R's. They say different sounds. But this ER says so you can read that. Pursue. Revenue. 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 It's going to break here. Residue. Residue. Closed syllable right there. And this is saying I because of another reason, and we won't go into that lesson today. Continue. Continue. See? Short sound. It's saying it's short sound. And this one turns to schwa. And we'll go over that in another lesson. And I actually probably have a video on that. I'm not sure which one it is. Continue. Continue. This is the accented syllable. This is the reason why that turns to schwa. Kun. It's not saying continue. It's saying kun. Barbecue. Barbecue. This is AR and Q. If you hear Q at the end, you spell it C-U-E. Construe. This is schwa. So that's the reason it says kun. Strew. Kun. Strew. R. This says argue. Argue. You, argue. UE, they go at the end of words. So that's where it can be confusing, because if you think, oh, UE, well, this is a vowel team. This is not the vowel team UE. See how UTE is at the end of a word, but here it does something different. And it falls in the middle of a word, so you have something here and you have something here. Or if it follows with a consonant right here, then you know it's considered in the middle of a word. If it's like this, it's going to break. This is a multi-syllable word, and it's going to say fuel, fuel, like gasoline. Do you see that, Dan? Fuel, fuel. This is a multi-syllable word. Same thing here. This is long, because this is an open syllable. These are open syllables. This says dual, dual, fuel. Now, the E here, because this is a vowel and an L, this turns to schwa if it's not accented. So it says ul. If you see A-L, E-L, I-L, U-L, O, L, they will all be schwa. And most of the time they will not be accented. So this is the accented syllable. So here though, it won't say that because this isn't an L. Duet, but it still breaks. That's long and it's saying eh, because now, see how it's a closed syllable and it's not a vowel than an L. Duet. So it's saying it's short E sound. Cruel, this is a vowel and then an L. It's going to be long. It's going to say cruel, cruel, cruel. These are words that we use often in our vocabulary. Now, but these are very confusables to this vowel team up here. This is not considered a vowel team. Now, if you look right here, here's another confusable. These are all French words. So this is a little bit more advanced, but these are words that adults will use all of the time. So this is a Latin prefix, and we have 40% of our language, maybe even more, of the English language is Latin. So this is Latin meaning one. This is unique. It breaks right here. This is an open syllable. Unique. Now this is a French word. So if you see a Q-U-E, Q-U-E, if you see that, you know it's French and it's not going to be a vowel team. This says, this right here says k, k. If you see Q-U-E, it says k. So this says unique. This says torque. So don't get that confused with up here. Q-U-E is something different. Plaque, bisque, bisque, boutique. Okay, don't get that confused. Here's another thing that's very confusing. If you see a G-U-E right here, then it's not, the U-E is silent. And this says league, league. Oftentimes if we see a G at the end, it's just by itself, if we want the G sound. If you see a G-E, it's going to say J. But if it's G-U-E, it's probably from a different language. League, morgue, right here, that is Latin, means death. Morgue, rogue, vogue, fatigue. Intrigue, dialogue. Now, in the American side of things, we are moving to taking the UE out of this word and off of this word, analog. Anything that ends in log, both are acceptable so far, and I don't think the other English languages are doing that. I just think American English is doing that. So don't get these confused. G-U-E, G-U-E. It says, now, but there are some words that won't do that, like argue, gu. So be careful with that. It's not always going to follow that, but just be careful. Also, something that is very tricky with the vowel team UE is something like the word guess. Now, if we did guess, this would say Jess, because if you have a G, then an E, it says J. If you have a G and an I, it says J. This says J. If you have a G and a Y, it's going to say J. This is J, J, or G. It depends on what's here. This will say G, J, and G. Okay? So this U right here is not that vowel team. This vowel team is for the end of words. End of words. Look, it's in the middle of a word. This U is here so that this word can be spelled, to keep this G saying G. guess. Okay? Now here's another thing that can be really tricky. See how it's in the middle of a word? But this is a French word. This says croquet. It's a game that lots of people play. And it's saying the long A sound. Croquet. See how down here, Q-U-E says K. And then you put the T on it and it adds the A sound. Adding the T on here. This says K and this says K. And adults, you will read this all of the time. Croquet. And this says coquet. And this says piquet or piquet. So if you've seen that, I wouldn't stress yourself over something like this right now. I would get these down, but be careful with that. It's not going to say you or eu or oo. No, will not say that. So then you will also see words like this. It's a Q-U-E. So right here, you're going to see this UE right here, but that's tricky because this EA is the vowel team and this U goes with this Q. It doesn't go with this. This U right here is not even a vowel. This says squeaky, squeak-E, squeak-E. See how the Y says E? In this word, it's a vowel. But sometimes you do have fluoric in the middle of words. Oftentimes, these are not words that we read commonly or say commonly in the English language. But this is, see, look, this is like this, squeak. This goes together, and these go together, not here. Remember, UE belongs at the end of a word. Quench. Right here, this is not the UE vowel team. It belongs to this Q. This U belongs to this QU. So this is quench. It's saying, this is a closed syllable. It's saying it's short sound. This is queen. So this QU belongs together, and this is the vowel team E. Double E's, say E always. Double E's will always say E. This is an open syllable, request. But look, that doesn't belong together. No, this QU goes together, and this is a short vowel. This is a closed syllable. Quest. See how this is saying quest, quest. Now, right here, look, it looks like you have a QU, but you do not. This goes together, and these go together. This says squeeze, squeeze. This OE goes at the end of words, and it says O. And it'll be at the end of small words. Okay, this says D-O, doe, like doe, a deer, a female deer, doe. J-O, Joe, it's a name. O, ho, it's a tool. T-O, toe, toe. F-O, foe, it's an enemy. W-O, woe. Th-o, throw, it means a pain. Now, if you see it in the, oh, and here's an unusual word. This says shoe, like this is my shoe. Can you see that?
Yeah.
This is my shoe. This needs to be memorized. This is a true sight word. Shoe. Now, if you see OE in the middle of a word, it is not considered a vowel team most of the time. I'm sure there's some exceptions. It breaks down the middle. This says no, and it's long because it's an open syllable. This is long. Noel. This is the accented syllable, so it's going to say it's short sound, and this is going to say it's long sound. It says no-el, Noel. no L, no L. So if you see the OE and it's followed by a consonant, and maybe sometimes a vowel, but most likely consonant, it is not this vowel team. This vowel team falls at the end of words, end of short words. Okay, I hope that was super helpful and hope you can understand me. So anyways, good luck with it. We'll see you in the next lesson.